as a millennial, speaking of millennials, I am the sponsor of a bill to cancel out student debt. And I recently saw that one of the ways that we can increase income inequality by like 50% was getting rid of student debt. What are other ways that we can decrease income inequality and increase the ability for millennials to be able to have the ability to have an input in our economy?
All right, welcome back, Patriots. We just saw a snapshot of a congressional hearing, and if you are like me, you immediately noticed the political grandstanding on full display. We have a member of the squad here, Ilhan Omar, attempting to lecture the Congressional Budget Office on fiscal responsibility and income inequality. Let that sink in for a second. My immediate reaction is simple. The irony is absolutely overwhelming when a member of Congress, whose personal financial history and actions have been under heavy scrutiny, tries to turn a serious CBO hearing into a platform for her own political agenda. It feels like a complete misuse of taxpayer time. You can already see the baiting tactics in that clip. She is trying to steer the conversation towards short-term political wins instead of real long-term policy solutions. Meanwhile, Philip Swagel is holding the line. He is doing his job, offering objective, nonpartisan answers and refusing to play along with the performance. We are going to watch the rest of this clip, and if you are tired of political theater, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below about whether elected officials should be held to higher financial and ethical standards before questioning others. Let us roll the rest of the clip.
Thank you, Chairman. As you might have noticed, there's a lot of anxiety that is expressed by many of my colleagues when it comes to the income inequality and the disparities that continue to persist in our communities and in our country. We know that over the last 50 years, income inequality has gotten significantly worse. We know that wages have grown stagnant, and the richest Americans are the only ones that have been able to reap the benefits of the economic growth that we've seen in the country. In your report last month, you projected that income inequality will be greater in 2021 than it was in 2016. And so I wanted to see if you can give us an idea of how do the growing levels of income inequality affect consumption, and how would this affect the budget outlooks that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said is correct about our report. We show greater inequality in 2021. That has different effects on the economy and the budget. The budget is a little difficult to parse out just because the progressive nature of our tax code means that income at the top is taxed more than income at the bottom. So I can't off the top of my head say what it means for the fiscal situation. And of course there's negatives, right? Inequality means more spending on transfers and things like that. For the economy, it's a challenge, and it's an important long-term challenge that we know that inequality doesn't have just these short-term effects, but over time, it means a weaker economy and a weaker society. The children of families at the bottom have more difficult situations and worse trajectories. Mm-hmm. And that, in some sense, is an intergenerational transmission of inequality and of poverty. That's a key challenge for the nation.
Yeah, and as a millennial, speaking of millennials, I am the sponsor of a bill to cancel out student debt. And I recently saw that one of the ways that we can increase income inequality by like 50% was getting rid of student debt. What are other ways that we can decrease income inequality and increase the ability for millennials to be able to have the ability to have an input in our economy?
Okay. So I would look in some sense at the short term and the longer term. The short term, the tax and transfer system affects inequality. The taxes and transfer reduce inequality, but as you pointed out, in 2021, less than in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So more could be done in the short term with either taxes or transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Over a longer horizon, the challenges are so this is more difficult and slower. Education would be a key one, and then all the challenges that so this help people use their education for their future. Housing, transportation, childcare, elder care, all the things that would make it possible for people at the bottom to work and to have a rising wage profile.
Watching the full exchange confirms exactly what we suspected. This was pure political performance, art designed for clips and headlines, not a serious policy discussion. Philip Swagel maintained his CBO objectivity throughout, and the contrast could not be more obvious. On one side, facts, data, and fiscal reality. On the other side, political motivation and talking points. Let us break down the problems. First, the framing. Ilhan Omar starts with CBO data, but selectively uses it to build a grievance narrative. She immediately jumps to buzzwords about stagnant wages and the rich benefiting. This is not a question looking for information. It is a political speech disguised as oversight. Second, student debt. This is where the argument completely collapses. She promotes her bill to cancel student debt, and then is forced to acknowledge the CBO finding canceling student debt could actually increase income inequality. Her flagship policy may worsen the very issue she claims to care about, and given her own ethical baggage from campaign finance issues to personal controversies, the idea that she has the moral or financial authority to lead a national conversation on fairness is insulting. She has no standing to lecture experts or colleagues without maintaining a clean record herself. Third, look at how Philip Swagel responds. He talks about unflashy, difficult structural solutions: education, housing, transportation, child care, long-term investments that cost real money and require serious planning. That is fiscal reality. She, on the other hand, is building toward her final act, attacking colleagues over Social Security and Medicare and pushing vague, creative prioritization. This has nothing to do with the CBO economic outlook. It is a pre-written soundbite designed to generate outrage, clicks, and fundraising dollars. A serious economic hearing was used as a stage for a political attack, while hard policy truths were ignored. This is the disconnect in Washington. Objective policy experts are forced to share the room with politicians more interested in branding and attacking opponents than solving real problems. It is time we demand better than political theater from our representatives. Let me know what you think in the comments.